Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Naomi, and today I want to give you a really wonderful practice to help make your feet feel better. Now, because it is getting warmer, you might be spending a little bit more time outside, whether that's walking a little bit longer than you usually do, or maybe running, or maybe just being on your feet and hanging outside with your neighbors a lot longer than you usually do because it's warmer and nicer thanks to the arrival of spring. Now, for me, I've actually been training for a half marathon, which is kind of wild. And so my feet also have been feeling a little bit more stress because I've been on them for longer periods of time than usual. Now, this particular video was created for plantar fasciitis because a friend of mine was experiencing some real serious foot pain and she wanted some help. So I created a video just for her to help with her feet. Whether or not you have plantar fasciitis, this is a really fantastic video to help relieve some of that discomfort in the balls and the arches of your feet and even your heels so that walking on your feet can feel more comfortable and probably a lot better than it has so far. So if you want to give a little bit more love and attention to your feet, whether or not you have plantar fasciitis, let's get right into this practice and I will see you on the other side. This video is going to show you 5 different exercises that you could do to maybe give you some plantar fasciitis relief. Now, you will need a few things for this particular video. You will want, and I have all of them behind me, but you will want a ball of some kind. This is a lacrosse ball. They are a lot harder than a tennis ball. A tennis ball will do just fine. I personally like lacrosse balls because I'm like just moderately masochistic. They are much more firm though, and they don't break as easily. And tennis balls can have a tendency to wear out, which is why I prefer lacrosse balls because they stay hard forever, pretty much. So I'm using a lacrosse ball. Get a tennis ball if you prefer. That's the moral of the story. Okay. You will also want a block of some kind. Now, if you don't have yoga blocks, you could use a couple of stacked books or, like a step stool. You want it to not be super high. A yoga block is ideal. But if you have like 2 thick dictionaries or something like that, you can stack one on top of the other and then put them against a wall so it's not going to move around. So like one of them that's on top is not going to slide like slide off when you're doing this. So you want a ball, a block, and then you're going to want a blanket or a towel of some kind that you can roll up tightly. I have a yoga blanket behind me that I use. And then lastly, you're going to want, like I have 3 different things that I'm going to show you how to use. I have a yoga strap, okay? I have like a tea towel, like or a hand towel from my kitchen. And I also have like a jump stretch band that gives me a lot of resistance. So you're gonna want one of those 3 things or some variation of that. You could use a scarf, you could use jeans, you could use a lot of different things. So just don't get hung up on like the actual specific thing you're using, okay? So get those things and you'll be good to go. Now, we're gonna start here in a seated position. You can be sitting in a chair. I'm sitting on the ground just because it's a little bit easier to see, but you can certainly do this sitting on a couch, a chair, on a bed, okay? All you're gonna do is a little bit of foot massage. So you can grab one of your feet, doesn't matter which one, and take your hands and just work your fingers up and down the sole of your foot. So your thumbs are gonna be on the bottom of your foot, your fingers are gonna be on the top of your foot. You don't really have to worry so much about what your fingers are doing. You're really more concerned with your thumbs, okay? So I'm gonna turn so you can see what I'm doing, hopefully a little bit. I'm gonna scoot, I meant scoot. And I'm really just trying to work on the fascia, the plantar fascia, which goes from your heel up to your toes. That's the inflamed part that's really bothering you right now. And I'm just working my feet or my foot. I'm just doing one foot, okay? So you could do much more extensive foot massage. You could work with your toes. You could squeeze the heel. We're just doing really, really basic foot massage to just, give your feet some love. Okay, so we're not going to spend a ton of time in this, but you really could do a lot more. And I have a video that I can share also that I'll put in the comments below this one so that you can have access to it. If you really, really enjoy foot massage, that one's a lot more extensive. But for now, we're just gonna do this. You can like squeeze and pull and like work up to the ball of your foot down to your heel and squeeze a little bit and twist. So mostly you just want to make it feel good. Okay. So let's switch. So I'm going to switch to my other foot. Okay. Again, what I'm just trying to do is, bring a little bit of movement to the fascia, which is inflamed, but that also feels kind of stuck and tight. And so I'm trying to loosen this tissue so that it feels less stuck and less tight and that there's more movement in it. Like another thing that you can do is if you have your thumbs on the ball of your big toe and the ball of your baby toe, you can like pull them apart. You can stretch them away from one another. Just massage up and down, right? Little bit of stretch. Should feel pretty good. Whew. Okay. You can rub too. So my thumbs are getting a little tired because it's a lot. So if that happens to you, you can shake out your hands like I am doing. You can use your fingers. So if your thumbs are getting tired, you can use your fingers on the top of your foot and put the heel of your hands on the bottom and just again create that movement there. So if your thumbs are getting worn out, that's another option. Okay. Whew. And it does feel good. Like this is the kind of thing that you could do like while you're sitting and watching a movie, while you're listening to a podcast, you can't really do it like when you're riding public transportation because people tend to frown upon that sort of behavior. But you can do it in many, many other places, that feel safe for you to do things like that. Okay, so moving on from the foot massage, again, I'm going to shake my hands out because that's quite a lot. The next thing that we're going to do is a similar sort of foot massage, but with this ball, okay? Now, like I said, you can use, this is a lacrosse ball, so it's a little bit harder, right, on the sole of my foot. A tennis ball is just fine, but you want a ball that's about this size, okay? So tennis ball, lacrosse ball size. You don't really want it to be big. You don't want it to be like golf ball size. You want it to be able to easily go underneath the sole of your foot. So I'm going to stand up. My head's going to go out of the frame, but really what I'm doing with my foot is more important. So that's what I want you to focus on. Now I've got the ball underneath my foot and I'm just rolling forward and back. Okay, now with all of these exercises, there are some exercises that you might say, oh yeah, that feels really good, or, I love that. And then you might do ones that you go, that really does not feel great. My husband, who's had plantar fasciitis before, does not like doing this with the ball. He prefers the hand version of the foot massage. You're just going forward and back though. But other people that I know who've had it, other clients that I've worked with, really do love rolling the ball back and forth. Okay, and you can do the other foot. Now, alternatively, if you don't have a ball, and I'm doing a little faster on this one, if you don't have a ball, you could use like a water bottle. I don't have anything in here that's like that I can show you, but actually I do. I'll show you. I'll give you a different option. It might seem weird too that I'm talking to you and you can't see my head. So, hi, I'm still here. But you're just rolling back and forth. And it might feel really sensitive. If you have plantar fasciitis, this might feel like too much. Okay, so I just want to be really clear. Not everything that I'm going to share, and I'm going to pop down for a sec, not everything that I share for your feet is going to feel great. So the reason that I'm giving you 5 different exercises is to give you options, right? So that you can find the things that feel good and work with those, okay? Now, if you don't have a ball like this, but you have like something cylindrical, so like a water bottle, this has like a poster in it, you could do the same thing, right? You want to make sure that it's not too soft. I'm not putting a lot of pressure here because this is, if I push too hard, it's going to collapse the roll. But rolling forward and back here actually feels really nice. So, if you don't have a tennis ball and you don't want to buy one, if you don't have a lacrosse ball and you don't want to buy one, then you can just get like a roll, so that might look like I said, a water bottle or something else that is cylindrical. And you can roll that underneath your foot too, and it might feel gentler and a lot nicer, okay? That's the second one. The third one, so I roll that out of the way. Third one is with your block, and this one is also standing, okay? You could conceivably do this seated, but standing is going to be a little bit easier because you're going to be putting more weight into your foot. So again, I'm just crouching down slightly, but I'm going to put the ball of my left foot up on the block and then drop my heel down toward the floor. So I'm really stretching my calf here, which is important. You want to stretch your calves also when it comes to plantar fasciitis. And then you lift your heel up and you're pressing into the ball of your foot, and then you drop down. Okay, so heel down and heel up. Heel down, heel up. And you don't need to do this too many times. I'm just going to do it 2 more times on this side before I move on. I also want to be really clear that this action is not coming from my knee. This is actually coming from my heel. So even though my knee is bending, the action is coming from my heel going down and my heel going up. Okay, I'm going to switch sides. Ball of my foot is up on this block. Okay, I start in a pretty neutral place where nothing is working, I'm just standing here. And then my heel drops down, and then I lift my heel up. Okay, so a little bit more arch to the foot there. Heel drops down. Heel goes up. So like I said, this is not my knee bending. If this was my knee bending and straightening, it would look like this. Okay, this is my heel dropping. So I'm putting weight down into my heel and then lifting my heel to take the weight off of it. Weight dropping down and up. And I'm just going to do 1 more of those. Drop down and drop up. Okay. Like I said, calf stretching is really important. We're actually going to do 1 more calf stretch at the very end. That's going to be with your blanket. Before we get there, you're going to come back to seated. And like I said, what we're about to do, you can do in a chair. I'm opting to do it on the floor because being on the floor is easy for me. And I think it's easier to see the actions of what I'm doing. But you could certainly do this sitting in a chair, on a couch, on your bed, anywhere that feels comfortable. But what you want are 1 of 3 different props. Okay, so I have, like I said, I have this towel from my kitchen. It's a hand towel. For today, it's a foot towel. I am going to wash it after I do this. It's not going back in my kitchen. I have a yoga strap, okay? And I have this jump stretch band. Now, you could use, like, this is really resistant. This has a lot of resistance. This is the kind of band that I would loop over a pull-up bar to do assisted pull-ups, so it's very thick. You could use, one of the smaller bands. You could use something that doesn't have quite as much resistance, but I really like this because I think that it gives you a lot more powerful resistance to push into, okay? So let's start with the yoga strap because that's gonna be the most familiar, I think, for most folks. That's gonna be the most familiar prop. So you're going to take the strap, and depending on whether you're sitting in a chair or on the ground and how much flexibility your body has, you want like a lot of strap or a little strap. You will know. I'm going to take the strap over the ball of my foot, okay? And it's best to have your leg extended straight. You can certainly do this with your knee bent. It's just more work, okay? That's why I said you might want more strap, right? If you don't want to work your shoulders quite as much. You're going to place the strap over the ball of your foot. And then all you're going to do is press forward into the strap and pull your toes back. Press forward into the strap and then pull your toes back. Okay, now you want to keep pulling on the strap with both hands the entire time because that's what's giving you the resistance that's stretching through the arch of your foot, that's stretching the fascia, but it's also giving your calves a little bit of action. Okay, so push forward, pull back. All right, push forward, pull back. Now, I want to be really clear. Like, why am I using a strap? Well, I can push forward and stretch back without doing that. And you can also do that. It's just not going to give you the resistance that you want to help stretch out the muscles of your feet and the muscles of your calves, right? Which, the muscles of your foot are inflamed. That's why you're having the fasciitis, right? But your calves are also, bearing a lot of that weight. And if you help stretch out your calves a little bit, that's going to ease up the pressure on your feet as well. So that's why I say, like, you want to have something over your foot. And I have this towel. You could use a longer towel. This one happens to be kind of short, but my hamstrings are long enough, my arms are long enough that it's not a big deal. It's the same idea. So I'm just moving my leg out of the way. You don't have to do this. Okay, I'm pressing forward, pulling back. Press forward, pull back. Now what's cool about doing it with this towel is that there's more of like a webbing, right? There's more, you could think of it as like a hammock over your foot. So you can really push your whole foot into it and pull back. Whole foot pushes and back, which feels really, really nice. It feels very different than the yoga strap. This is a little bit gentler. So if the strap felt too intense, then aim for this towel. You're not trying to lift your heel away from the floor, by the way. You do want to keep your heel on the ground as you push forward and pull back. Okay, and that's really just to keep from like hyperextending, locking your knee. That's not going to help your foot. You're just bypassing all the muscles that you need. Okay, now I'm going to take this off just to show you like what it looks like with the band. Whoops, before it slips off of my foot. Okay, so it's the same thing. Push forward, pull back. But again, because there's so much resistance here, I have to work a little bit more. Like my heel wants to lift up off of the floor because this band is so strong. So I have to work a lot harder. So again, this is, some people are going to love with the band, some people are not. Find which of the props. You can use a longer towel, remember. Find which of them feels good for you, okay? And use that if this particular exercise feels good and works for you. Now, the last two exercises, I realize there are two more exercises too, but they work together. The last two exercises, the first one, you don't need any props at all. I am going to get all of my props out of the way so I can put my body on my mat because you're going to do something that I have always called toe torture. It's not as bad as it sounds, but some people think it is. And what you're going to do, and I'm going to put my knees on this blanket. I shouldn't have moved it. My knees go on the blanket for a little bit of support. And then I'm going to curl my toes under and sit back on my heels. Now, this might be as far as you go, right? For your knees, for your feet, this might be as far as you go. Like this is a big stretch for your feet, for your fascia without even bringing your hands up to your knees, without even rocking back on your heels. And when you start rocking back on your heels, this is the moment where it's like, oh yeah, that's, yep, toe torture, totally get it now. Now, for some people, this is gonna feel like too much on your toes, and that's okay. If it feels like too much on your toes, like if you've got some stuff going on with your toes, then ease off and try to get the stretch. Like you can really push through your feet without putting quite as much weight on your toes, leaning forward or keeping your hands on the floor. Okay, so whether you are upright and leaning back or whether you are leaning a little bit forward, I promise you are still getting the stretch that you need here. Okay. Now, ideally the aim here is like, can you be here for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, right? The time doesn't actually matter. So please don't feel like you have to be here for a certain amount of time. I'm coming out because that actually feels like a lot. You can just stretch one leg back. And notice as I'm stretching back with the top of my foot on the floor. That's to help, just get a different type of extension through my foot. Because I actually do have some toe stuff for me right now. So this is giving me relief. Okay, it's to get some of the blood moving back into your feet. And you could also, another alternative for this that I hadn't really thought about until I was here is that you could do a similar stretch here, right, in table pose. You don't even have to have your palms flat. You could be up on your fingertips, and you can just stretch one leg back and reach through your heel. Now, this is going to be much more of a calf stretch than the top of your foot. So you could ease off of it and just try to work the top of your foot with a little bit of pulsation. Okay, just a little. And, if you have the plantar fasciitis flaring up in both feet, obviously do both. You can cross your foot over like I am or go straight back. Both are good. Okay, so that's just in some ways, that's doing gentle toe torture, one foot at a time. Okay, Now, the last thing that we're gonna do also sounds kind of violent. It's called calf smashing, right? Calf smashing. I love calf smashing, but I also lean again into that sort of masochistic kind of space. But it's also just a really great way to release some of the stress and tension in your calves. And that's a really hard place to get to. And you do it passively, right? So you're going to take the blanket that you grabbed. If you're using a yoga blanket, you want it to look like this, right? So that if you were at a yoga studio, right, you would see the blankets like this. If it's a towel, you just fold it over until it's in the shape of like a rectangle, and you're going to roll it on the longer end, not the shorter end, on the longer end. You want it to be as tight as possible, okay? And then you're going to take this blanket and you're going to shove it back as far back into your knees, your knee pits, as you can. And then you're going to sit. Okay? Hence the calf smashing. Okay? So you're letting gravity help you here. Again, the tendency is going to be to want to lean forward a little bit because that will take the heat off of your calves. If you can, sit back. All right? I haven't done this in a while, and I also went for a run yesterday, so I can feel it. But this is also just a really, really great way to rest your feet, smash your calves, okay? Like relieve some of the tension in your muscles, right? If you're experiencing plantar fasciitis, your calves are really working overtime to try to, take the heat off of your feet is one way of thinking about it. And this is going to just, it doesn't feel like it in the moment, but it will help soothe some of that tension. The longer that I'm here, the more actually I can drop down into it. Oh. It's still not easy, but it's okay. And again, this might be something where you say, okay, I can do 10 seconds, and then you work up to maybe 20, then you maybe work up to 30. I've been here for quite a while, so this might be longer than you need. I'm actually going to come on out. And again, after you slide that blanket out, you can stretch back one leg at a time, just a little, and give your calves a little bit of stretch in that opposite direction. And that's it. Those are the 6, I miscounted, the 6 exercises that you can do to try and help relieve some of that inflammation in your feet. Like I said before, not every single exercise is going to feel great for you. So what I really want you to do is find the one that feels the best for you, maybe the one that feels the second best, and hone in on those. Do those, once or twice every day. Things that again you can do while watching TV, listening to a podcast, when you are doing something relatively passive. Maybe the toe torture less so, maybe the calf smashing less so, but the other one's pretty easy to do in those moments that you're not doing anything else. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time to take care of your feet with me today. So whether you are spending more time walking or running or just hanging out on the corner with your neighbors because it's nicer outside, I hope that your feet are feeling a little bit better than they were before. And I hope that these are exercises that you take into your life when you are starting to feel a little bit of discomfort and maybe even pain, and that you can give yourself some relief, because that's the whole idea. So as I said at the beginning, this video was one that I created for a friend several months ago who was experiencing some pretty significant pain due to plantar fasciitis. And I created this video for her to give her lots of options to help relieve that pain. And if that is something that would be useful for you. Meaning, if you are experiencing a physical issue like plantar fasciitis, or if you're feeling shoulder pain and you can't figure it out, or if you want to get stronger in your core and you're not quite sure what to do and what steps to take, or if you want to begin strength training and you don't know how to start, that's what videos like this are for. So when I am able to create specialized, individualized videos based on very specific needs, it can help you move in the direction that you want to, whether that's getting stronger or relieving pain or just understanding how to do something a little bit better. So, if that's something that you're interested in, check out the information in the caption below, because I will give you some information for how to get in touch with me so that I can create personalized videos for you, much like this one. They don't have to be about plantar fasciitis because you already have this fantastic video totally for free. This would be a way for you to work with me individually on a personal issue related to yoga or fitness or something that will help you feel better in your body. So if that's something that you would like, again, check out the caption in the description below and let's talk so that I can help make you feel a little bit better in your body through personalized yoga and movement practices. Now, whether or not you need that kind of specialized attention, I am just so glad that you decided to get on the mat with me today. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you back on the mat again soon. Until then.